When anger takes over your body, something terrifying happens inside your brain. For a few brief moments, the part of your mind responsible for logic, judgment, and self-control begins to lose its grip. Your brain isn't trying to ruin your life, it's trying to save it. The strange part? The danger it's protecting you from often doesn't exist. The same survival system that once helped your ancestors escape predators can now destroy relationships, damage careers, and leave you awake at 2 in the morning replaying an argument you wish had never happened. So why does your brain betray you at the exact moment you need it most? And more importantly, can you actually take back control? Think back to the last time anger hit you without warning. Maybe someone criticized something you worked hard on. A driver cut you off in traffic. A coworker blamed you for a mistake you didn't make. Your partner misunderstood what you were trying to say. Or maybe a stranger left a cold, sarcastic comment online. In less than half a second, everything changed. Your heart started racing, your muscles tightened, your breathing became shallow. Before you had time to think, a voice inside your head was already demanding a response. Fight back, defend yourself, say something. Most people believe that anger is simply a personality flaw or a lack of self-control. But modern psychology tells a very different story. Anger isn't the problem, it's the symptom. What you're experiencing is something neuroscientists often describe as a temporary takeover of your brain's survival system. And once you understand what happens during those few critical seconds, you'll never look at anger the same way again. Chapter 1. Your brain would rather make you angry than leave you feeling powerless. Here's a surprising truth. Your brain would rather make you angry, and thousands of years ago, if something moved in the bushes, your brain couldn't afford to wait for careful analysis. If it was a predator, hesitation could be fatal. So the amygdala evolved to react first and ask questions later. The moment it senses danger, it activates your fight or flight response. Stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol flood your body. Your heart beats faster, your muscles prepare for action, your attention narrows. All of this happens before your logical brain has fully understood what's happening. Imagine your amygdala as an old smoke alarm. It was built to detect fire, but over time it became so sensitive that even burnt toast can trigger it. The alarm doesn't know the difference. It only knows something might be wrong. Your brain works in much the same way. To your survival system, a sarcastic comment from a coworker can feel surprisingly similar to a genuine physical threat. Not because they are equally dangerous, but because both can threaten something your brain deeply values: your safety, your status, or your sense of belonging. Picture yourself presenting an idea during an important meeting. You've spent weeks preparing. Then someone laughs and dismisses it in front of everyone. Within seconds, your chest tightens, your jaw clenches. You feel an overwhelming urge to fire back. Not because you've carefully decided to react, but because your brain has already pulled the emergency alarm. The smoke alarm is screaming even though the toast is only slightly burnt. This is what psychologists often call an amygdala hijack. For a brief period, your emotional brain becomes louder than your thinking brain. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for judgment, reasoning, and long-term decisions, temporarily loses influence. That's why intelligent, kind people sometimes say things they regret only moments later. It isn't because they suddenly became a different person. It's because for a few seconds, their survival system was driving the car. But if anger is really trying to protect you, why does holding on to it sometimes feel strangely satisfying? The answer has less to do with emotion and far more to do with chemistry. Chapter 2. The Chemical Trap. Here's something most people never realize. Anger doesn't just happen. Your brain can actually reward it. The moment you feel threatened, your body releases a surge of adrenaline. Suddenly, you feel stronger, more alert, more certain. At the same time, your brain may release a small burst of dopamine, the same reward chemical involved in motivation and habit formation. That's why anger can feel strangely powerful, not because it's solving the problem, but because it's temporarily replacing fear with certainty. Imagine you're driving home after a long day. Another driver suddenly cuts in front of you. For a split second, you feel pure fear. Your heart skips. Your hands tighten around the steering wheel. Then something changes. Fear turns into rage. You slam on the horn. You yell through the windshield. Maybe you even imagine catching up to them, just to prove a point. But here's the uncomfortable truth. None of those reactions make you safer. The danger is already over. Your brain simply found a faster way to escape the feeling of helplessness. Anger feels powerful. Power feels rewarding. And over time, your brain quietly learns the lesson. If something hurts me, anger makes me feel better. That's how emotional habits are born. Every time you rely on anger to escape discomfort, your brain strengthens that pathway. Eventually, anger stops becoming a reaction. It becomes the default setting. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. The real problem isn't the anger itself. It's what the anger is desperately trying to hide. Chapter 3. The emotion beneath the emotion. Imagine standing in front of a massive iceberg. Only a small piece rises above the surface. Everything else remains hidden underwater. Human emotions work in much the same way. The anger you see, the anger you feel, that's only the visible tip. Underneath, it often lies something much more vulnerable. Fear, shame, rejection, loneliness, disappointment, exhaustion. Psychologists often describe anger as a secondary emotion. In other words, it usually arrives to protect another emotion that's far more painful to experience. Think about a couple. One partner comes home hours later than expected without sending a single message. The moment they walk through the door, an argument begins. You never think about anyone but yourself. You don't care about this family. On the surface, it sounds like anger, but underneath, there may have been 2 hours of fear. What if something happened to you? What if I don't matter anymore? Admitting those feelings requires vulnerability. Anger doesn't. That's why anger often steps in first. It's the emotional bodyguard. The problem is, bodyguards aren't designed to solve problems. They're designed to fight. That's why arguments fueled by anger almost never fix the real issue. They simply hide it beneath louder emotions. The next time you feel anger rising, try asking yourself one question before reacting. What is this emotion trying to protect? That single question can completely change the direction of a conversation. Because once you understand what's hiding beneath the surface, you stop fighting the smoke and finally begin looking for the fire. But even when you recognize all of this, one difficult question still remains. If your brain reacts this quickly, how do emotionally intelligent people stay calm when everyone else loses control? Chapter 4. The space that changes everything. Here's what emotionally intelligent people understand. They don't have less anger than everyone else. They simply know what to do during the few seconds that matter most. Between every trigger and every response, there is a small space. Most people never notice it because the moment anger appears, they react automatically. But that tiny pause is where self-control is born. Psychiatrist Viktor Frankl once wrote that between stimulus and response lies our freedom to choose. Modern neuroscience points in a similar direction. The first wave of your stress response usually lasts around 90 seconds. After that, something interesting happens. Your body is ready to calm down, but your mind often refuses. Why? Because you keep replaying the story. They embarrassed me. They disrespected me. I should have said this. Every replay tells your brain that the threat is still happening. Your body responds accordingly. Imagine hitting the replay button on the same frightening movie scene over and over again. Your heart wouldn't know the difference. It would react every single time. Now, imagine receiving a harsh email from your manager. Your fingers instantly move toward the keyboard. You want to defend yourself, correct every accusation, hit reply all. But instead, you stand up, walk away, take a few slow breaths. You return 10 minutes later. The email hasn't changed, but your brain has. Your prefrontal cortex is back online. Now you can respond instead of react. That single pause often determines whether you solve a problem or create a bigger one. But there is one final piece almost nobody talks about. Knowing how anger works isn't enough. Real change begins when you change your relationship with it. Chapter 5. You don't defeat anger, you retrain your brain. Most people believe emotional control means suppressing anger. It doesn't. Suppression only buries the emotion. Eventually, it comes back even stronger. Imagine trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The harder you push, the more forcefully it eventually bursts back to the surface. That's exactly what happens when emotions are ignored instead of understood. Real emotional mastery looks very different. The next time anger appears, notice it. Instead of saying, "I am angry," try saying, "I'm noticing anger." It sounds like a tiny difference, but psychologically, it's enormous. You stop becoming the emotion, you become the observer. Then, slow your breathing. Long, controlled exhales signal safety to your nervous system. Your body begins telling your brain the danger has passed. Finally, ask yourself one simple question. What is my anger trying to protect? Respect? Security? Connection? Fear? Once you discover the answer, the anger begins losing its job. Because anger was never your enemy, it was your brain's attempt to protect something valuable. The problem is, your survival system was using an ancient solution for a modern problem. Conclusion. The next time you feel anger taking over, remember this. Your brain isn't trying to destroy your relationships. It isn't trying to sabotage your career. It isn't trying to make you a bad person. It's trying to protect you. The question is no longer whether anger will show up. It will. The real question is, who will be in control when it does? Your survival instincts or your conscious mind? Because the strongest people aren't the ones who never get angry. They're the ones who remain calm while everyone else loses control. Master that space between the trigger and the response, and you'll discover something far more powerful than anger. You'll discover freedom. If this video gave you a new perspective on your own mind, consider subscribing for more evidence-based psychology insights. And before you go, tell us in the comments, what triggers your anger the fastest? You might be surprised by how many people share the same answer.